come to order?
There you go.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's start over again. Thank you for coming to tonight's board meeting. The first agenda item is the public hearing. And we will call the, before that, we will do call to order. And that's a roll call. Approval of the agenda.
We're approving the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes.
Second.
All-
Shouldn't we have order?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call.
Chairman Martin,
Here.
Vice Chair Fleming,
Here.
Treasurer Milligan, Secretary Davis,
Here.
Trustee DeVarty,
Here.
Trustee Hatcher,
Here.
Trustee Linda.
Here.
Here.
That's the new. Okay, just attendance, or will be approving the agenda. We did approve all the minutes.
This is the public hearing on the establishment of the Washtenaw Community College Police Force under Section 389.128 of the Community College Act of 1966. There are questions and answers about the proposal available on credenza in the back. Everyone will have a chance to speak. Please limit comments to 3 minutes to allow time for all speakers. Just a reminder to my fellow trustees, this hearing is to listen only. Please all hold comments to the trustee remarks portion of the agenda. The first person is Michael David Bendor.
Hi, I'm a taxpayer. I live in Superior Township. The 2017-2018 budget that you reviewed at your last meeting contained a hole of $1.5 million. The hole was termed deferred maintenance. We all know that deferred maintenance generally results in a higher ultimate cost. We recently voted on a millage to support WCC and expected that the WCC board would handle our money responsibly. Deferred maintenance in such a large amount certainly indicates that there's a problem. In light of this fiscal problem, the proposal to establish a WCC police force is irresponsible. It would be a new cost of about $500,000 a year, and the cost would continue into the indefinite future. There's been no compelling case made for a new police force. WCC is located very close to the sheriff's office. Across the street, there's a full-time sheriff's deputy on the St. Joe's campus. There have not been more murders, rapes, muggings, or robberies on campus than at any other public locations, according to public reports. Furthermore, WCC police force would create significant liabilities for the college. Police departments around the country have been reported to have paid many millions of dollars in damages. Many of the students here have had very negative interactions with police in other jurisdictions. Veterans suffering from PTSD are not likely to react well to uniformed and armed officers. There is a need for more counselors. Troubled students should be able to find help on campus. However, they are not going to find help as long as you refuse to adequately staff the counseling office. To get high-quality professional counselors, you're going to have to pay them professional wages and benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is Kimberly Jones.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm faculty here, but I also live here, so I guess I'm a taxpayer. What I wanted to talk about was the police force, so I wrote a little speech, and so here it goes. John F. Kennedy said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." We're at a crossroads here at WCC. What we do will certainly make an enormous impact on the community we've built. So I'm here to urge the board to tread carefully when making this decision on creating a police force. As a faculty member who spent 15 years walking the halls of this campus, I'm personally invested. All 3 of my biological children have matriculated here, and even one of my 3 stepchildren has taken summer classes. I love this school. However, I don't pretend to live in a fairy tale where demons don't exist. I know that even in a place like Ann Arbor, crime exists. I have even been the object of stalking and threats by a student. So I know firsthand how dangerous this campus can be. As a believer in the Second Amendment, I've been continuously concerned about my ability to protect myself against the dangers that lurk on this campus. So I was excited about the possibility of the college providing me with protection that I cannot provide for myself since my handgun is banned here. But when I listened to the proposal for why we needed a police force, I was angry. The informational meeting changed my mind. The result of this meeting was that I knew I needed to make my voice heard to this body. I still believe that we do need a police force on this campus, but I'm extremely concerned about who leads that force, who is hired, and how they are trained. If the board votes to move forward with the police force, I urge the board to consider adding 2 students to the Public Safety Advisory Committee that MCL 389.128, Section 3, Section 1 requires. While this statute sets a minimum requirement of 2 faculty and 2 staff, the law sets a floor, not a ceiling. So this board can add to the minimum. In addition, it's imperative that this advisory committee be representative of the diverse community that embodies WCC. Additionally, the board could require that this advisory committee also be a hiring/training committee, not only a disciplinary body. Another important aspect of crafting this police force is that it be created to protect our community. Students shouldn't feel policed. A community policing model is imperative to preventing the types of mistakes and violence against students and community members seen at other institutions. So I urge the board to review the U.S. Department of Justice's report on campus law enforcement from the years of 2011 to 2012, specifically Table 6, which identifies community policing activities used on other campuses, as well as the hiring practices outlined on page 17 of this document. And I'm happy to forward that
Would
along.
you?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. The next person is Judy Bonnell Wenzel.
Hi. I know I've been here a couple times before this, but I have some slightly different things to say today. Washtenaw Community College does not have a crime problem, but it does have a retention problem. Our students often have families to support. They hold jobs, maybe multiple jobs, as well as taking many classes, trying to graduate at the earliest date. This can lead to more trips to the counseling center, and they need to rearrange class schedules frequently. The people who work in the counseling center are important employees who are licensed to help students deal with stresses faced when the student is the first in their family to complete college, or students who are trying to raise a family, as well as attend a program that helps them start a second career. The counseling center has thousands of visits each year, yet counselors have been let go. The one part-time social worker also has not been replaced. Counseling skills are very important in a college setting. It is more cost-effective to increase the number of well-paid counseling positions and to recognize our wonderful safety officers at the college. As helpful as the new police officers would want to be, they do not have experience on our Washtenaw campus. They are not licensed as counselors and social workers are, and they would be paid higher wages than counselors and social workers. My plea is for the more experienced, licensed, and more affordable counseling center employees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the comments. Are there any other? Anyone else wants to say anything? Okay. We'll go on to citizen.
Just close the public hearing.
Oh, okay. I need to close the public hearing.
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Support?
Support.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll go on to
Vote. Vote. All in favor?
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go on to citizen participation. Verbal communication.
You may find us hard to believe the WCCEA has nothing to report tonight.
Thank you.
We want to hear about your book.
Any comments from the public? Any written communications?
There was 2 communications received.
Thank you.
The minutes.
Is there approval of the minutes for April 25th?
Move approval?
Support.
Any comments? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special reports?
Linda Blakey.
Adult transition? Recognition?
Good evening. I would like to have Bonnie True come up here, please. Bonnie is the manager of our Adult Transitions Program, and she has received a special tribute from the state of Michigan. So I'd like to read that now, please. Let it be known that it is with deep admiration that we honor Bonnie True for her outstanding efforts to improve adult education through her position as the Adult Education Director at Washtenaw Community College. It is with sincere appreciation that we thank her for the incredible work she has done. WCC's tremendous GED program aims to give adults the best education possible and allows them to apply their education to real-world situations. This gives students both the knowledge and tools necessary for successfully obtaining and holding a job once they receive their GED. Ms. Troon and WCC's efforts have had a monumental impact, bringing the educational gain for their program to 78.76%, 78.76, compared to a statewide average of 39%. Not only does this significantly contribute to the Michigan Talent Agency's goal for Michigan to become a top 25 education state within 5 years, but it greatly impacts local communities and lives. Ms. Troon's program at WCC will undoubtedly continue creating positive change for Michigan's education. We are incredibly grateful to have outstanding citizens like her in the community, and we wish her the best in all future endeavors. In special tribute, therefore, this document is dedicated to honor Bonnie Troon for her dedication to providing the best education possible for adult students and ensuring that they are well prepared for work once they have obtained their GEDs. And this has been signed by Rebecca Warren, our state senator, our state representative Adam Zemke, the governor, and Lieutenant Governor Brian Cow.
Well, this was completely a surprise to me. I would like to thank all of you for the recognition and acknowledgement and give this, or take this opportunity to thank my team of people that I work with. They're phenomenal. They share in like-mindedness and serving the college and the community. And without them, without my VP, Linda Blakey, my dean, Liz Orbitz, this would not be possible because they support me in everything that we try to do. Thanks.
Congratulations again.
Because of the great work of Bonnie Truan and her team, Liz Orbitz and her team, Linda Blakey, and everyone else that's added to the contributions and successes that have happened under Bonnie's leadership, we too were awarded a special tribute as a college in recognition of the 70, this is really a big deal, 78.76% is really a huge deal. So here's the special tribute that we were also given, and I'm sharing it to you as the board chair because it, you know, as representative of the board, I think you should accept this on behalf of the college. And thank you for your leadership because we're all doing this together. Congratulations.
This is very nice. Next is the college goals, strategic plan accomplishments, 2016-2017. President Belanca.
Yes, thank you very much. We are really looking forward to this evening to share the accomplishments that we have had from our priority teams this past year. And this is on the second page. The board may recall that we had an update at our board retreat on the college goals. And this evening, we're going to focus on the strategic priorities and goals. You may recall why we did this in the first place. A strategic plan is to make sure we continue to position our college for success. And with the changing needs of our students, as well as the demographics and the changing political environment with technology, workforce demands, different university expectations, we have to think, we as a college have responded to that through strategic planning to position ourselves for continued success. And with the work of our faculty and staff, because this is like a bubbling thing, everybody who wants to participate is participating in this. I have been, thank the good Lord, extremely successful. And thank you for helping us get to this point. When it comes to strategic planning, not only do we have these strategic priority teams, but also every single department here identifies goals and action plans for the year as aligned with the plan and where we're going. So I'd like to thank everyone as well. This time I'd like to turn it over to our strategic planning leader, Julie Morrison. Dr. Morrison.
Thank you. We're happy to be here tonight. As you see, I'm here with representatives from the planning priority teams here in the first two rows, and we'll be going down the line in a minute. As President Belanca said, a number of us spoke to you in March at the spring retreat to provide you with updates on the annual operational college goals that are overseen by the college leadership. And today we're giving you year-end updates for accomplishments related to the goals of the 8 priorities of the strategic plan. As you know, in 2012, we launched the implementation of our 3-year WCC strategic plan, Shaping Our Future, which was built around the 8 priorities, which are, as a reminder, professional development, student success, instructional and student services, institutional agility and responsiveness, visibility and branding, workforce development, academic partnerships, funding and resources, and community development. In 2015, we revisited and refreshed the plan for an additional 3 years, and the team crafted new goals around those same 8 priorities, and we're now midway through that 3-year cycle. So in your binder, as President Belanca mentioned, you'll see this folder. You saw this before at the March retreat. It's been updated, and it's updated both the operational college goals as well as the strategic priority goals we're talking about tonight. And those are on the right side, as she said. Our team members are here to give you a brief report on the accomplishments for this year, for 2016-17, related to those strategic priority goals. The gold dots that you'll see in the 2017 column of the folder indicate that the 2016-17 action steps for that goal were completed this year, whether that goal is a 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year goal. Now I'm pleased to turn this over to the priority team members who are representing the effort here with me tonight, and without whom this work would definitely not be possible, as we provide the trustees with the achievements and outcomes for the past year. So we will start to my right with Christy Lindeman with Priority 1, Professional Development.
Greetings, great to see you guys all again. I'm here to talk to you about professional development and organizational health. We have had such a great run. This has been something so fun because we get to work across campus with everyone. So what we worked on this year and the last few years is trying to consolidate as much as we can across campus so we can be under one umbrella, so that our trainings, we can pull our resources so we can hit more people instead of being in little silos. We can try to hit each division or department and have trainings for all. So that will be something we say we've completed, but we will continue to be working on that to see how much, as technology changes and safety requirements change, how much we can pull everything under one umbrella. Our second is communication and collaboration. We have a 11-person to 13-person committee, depending on the month. That committee has people from all across campus, including all of the faculty development members, as well as OPTs, independent staff, and IT staff, and HR staff. And all of us work together to collaborate on what is needed on all aspects of campus, as well as we have people on our committee working with the Priority 3 and the Diversity Committee. We advertise together. We help set up workshops together. We also combine some programming that all 3 of those different groups require. The third are working on best practices for rewarding staff members that finish any type of development, recognition, tracking. What we're doing is researching across other colleges as well as some of those other things. I believe it was brought up in one of the meetings about the little tokens you get when you finish a video game chapter or something. But we really like the wolf pack, so we're trying to figure out what we can do with a wolf pack symbol that you would have next to your name, or you could collect so many lone wolf tokens and become part of the wolf pack. So it's something fun that we could get more people to play together or work together to establish that. And as always, we are presenting many offerings across campus. We include trainings in service as well as other times throughout the year. Thanks again.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Priority 2 students.
She has a question.
Are we asking questions as we go? Or?
Sure, go ahead.
So we haven't put the development activities under one umbrella yet?
We're still working on that. We have HR and professional faculty development and Priority 1 are all working together. We're still working on some little small areas, pulling them in under that umbrella. We're doing the promoting for them, helping them find workshop leaders or presenters, but it's not really a full staff thing yet.
All right. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Okay, so student success from an instruction standpoint, In November, our in-service, we kind of really highlighted with the department chairs and the deans to really start thinking about our student success from an instruction standpoint to be a lot more data-driven. So we've hosted a lot of workshops and made sure that the goals for 2017 were more focused on us looking at data from a course and a program standpoint. So all of the goals that I'll talk about a little bit here that have come from some of the departments are focused on retention, but they also came from the departments, different activities that have come from the faculty. One of them is that we've actually adopted a year-long student planning grid for the Business Computer Technologies Division. There has been a lot of outreach to new students, so faculty are actually making outreach to students, finding out how things are going, are they registered for the next semester, and really focusing on helping the students know what are the next classes in their sequence for them to take so that we can really focus a lot more on retention. Some of the divisions have had the division advisors make videos so that division advisors' outreach reaches beyond campus to our online programs. And in the way of diversity, we've done a lot in that we've actually had diversity and inclusion workshops and discussions in our department as well as our division meetings. And then one of our key successes for this past year is that we actually hired a dean of access, success, equity, and inclusion. And those items will be tied to our 2017 fall goals in our planning. We also just rolled out this last winter semester a newly designed course reflection reports that we had talked about. And to close out the year, we're going to be taking some feedback from the Faculty Professional Development Committee. They've been sitting in the Student Center, talking to students, getting feedback from students of what are the things that students would want their faculty members to know. So for our fall in-service, our highlight speaker is actually going to be our students. Some other things, of course, that we've also worked on from a student success standpoint would be the development of actually 8 new programs and some key curriculum updates, which includes putting the addiction studies program online, a new and exciting sterile processing certificate program, as well as a new ESL and audio recording program and some other programs. So we've been keeping busy and planning for next year in regards to student success and instruction.
Questions?
Do we have benchmark data in terms of retention and student success so that we know whether these programs are affecting retention and student success?
We do, and so what we had the faculty and the departments do is look at what the success rates and what the retention rates are for every single one of the programs and the courses, and they all differ. And the reason why we started with kind of a November in-service is that we're trying to get everybody, not trained, but thinking about the strategies and the goals that they come up with in a way that is tied to that data. So we do have the data. They've been looking at it. We're halfway through, I think, the training process of getting people to tie their goals to the data directly. So right now we're still doing activities, but they're not all directly tied, and that's one of our key goals for next year.
I don't think our success rate is 77%. So.
We're looking at that.
Yeah, so I'd like to see it at some point. Where, you know, over the years, if it's gotten better or the same. Or...
And what we want to do is define a goal that we can move towards too.
Sure, thank you.
We're next. So, good evening. We're Team 2B. I have Cheryl Finley, who's the student advisor from the Student Resource Center. She's on Team 2B. The 2B team is the cool team. I'll just say that right now. So we'll go through our goals and give you some updates.
So one of our first goals was to redesign the in-person Student Connect, which is our orientation, student orientation. So in the past, it's been a group orientation, and we redesigned it to include personal computers, well, individual computers for the students. And so now they come, and we've also trained ambassadors, the student ambassadors. So we have student success coaches, our student ambassadors, and they're doing one-on-one orientation with our students. So in the winter and spring of 2017, we had 2,750 students come through the Student Connect sessions. And then with fall, we're expecting about 3,500 students to come through that session. So it's giving students more of an opportunity to talk one-on-one with someone and also register for classes. So our goal is to get students to walk out of orientation with a schedule in hand. One of the other goals that we've had was to expand the VIP student program to include all FIDIACs. So In the past, the VIP program only included certain students from identified schools in the area. And now what we've done is IT has changed the system to identify all first-time and any college students. And now those students will come to see an advisor. So rather than us being able to advise 70% of the FIDIACs, we're looking to advise 100% of those new students where they're first time in any college.
One of our other goals, and you had an update on this earlier in the year, was to update our new entry assessment tools. With Compass going away, we had to look at some new tools. We had a cross-functional team of instruction, faculty from the reading, writing, and math departments, as well as student services staff, to go through and evaluate over a course of several months different tools that we could use, and we selected AccuPlacer and Alex. Alex is for our math assessment, and as you heard from Lisa Rhombus, our math department chair, that's been a really successful tool. And we've found that, they have a learning module that's available with their math assessment, and we have about 41% of our students accessing that learning tool, and the national average has been between 30 and 35. So we have more students accessing that tool, and we've seen results in terms of students being able to raise their math level and access a higher level of course. The other thing that we've also done is looking at students who have come in and are on a developmental track of ways that we could accelerate them into taking college level courses. And so students who are at reading level 5, and they're enrolled in ACS 108, we changed over the last academic year that those students who are enrolled in ACS 108 could take a college level course at the same time. And this past year, we've had 262 students be able to access that college level class at the same time this past year.
And then one of our other goals was to enhance student advising to focus on degree completion for our students through the development and implementation of an advising syllabus. So we created an advising syllabus that we're giving out to every student that we advise. So over the past year, we've advised over 26,000 students. And now with the advising syllabus, we're able to give them this syllabus, which talks about their role as a student, our role as an advisor, and tells them about the process, actually. So you just think about if this is their first time in any college, they're really not familiar with the process. The advising syllabus also gives them a list of phone numbers for different offices that they may need access to, like learning support services, personal counseling, financial aid. So they have all of this at their fingertips. And then we'll include a copy of their degree works so that they can see how many classes they have to take until they complete their degree here at the college. We'll put all of that in their academic advising folder. And so when they come back to see us, they'll have all of their information in one folder in one place. And that way they also build a rapport with that advisor or counselor.
And our last goal for this year was to update our academic intervention process. Our academic intervention process looks at students who have struggled academically, either by not passing a developmental course or by having a GPA that's less than 2.0. Our team looked at that process, and we've looked at the credit limitations and reviewed that. We've also looked at whether developmental math needs to be part of that process. But we've identified, Liz Orbitz in her area has hired some success coaches to specifically reach out to these students. We also have a coach that's going to reach out to students in occupational areas so that we can get some, rather than wait for the student to come, those students are required to have an academic appointment before they can register, that we do more targeted outreach while these students are enrolled for the semester and make sure that they're accessing the support systems that we have so that they can be successful and not lead to academic suspension. So that's one of the key things that we've put in for this year as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting. Yes, I'm sorry.
Again, I wonder if we have benchmark numbers. I mean, of those students who've done the advising process, how many have we retained? How many have completed? How many are moving on? Of the first one to go to college. I mean, it's wonderful what you're talking about, the plans, but I'd like to see some numbers attached to the efforts at some point.
And we'll do that. So this is the first time we've required PDX to have advising. Before it was highly recommended.
Yeah, right.
So now this is the fall semester. Fall 17 is the first semester that it's a required process. So we'll have metrics on all.
That'll be wonderful. Thank you.
Trustee DeVarty?
I actually have three questions. One is just something about the design of this whole thing. Most of these have green dots going forward to 2018 and 19, and this is one area where there's only one green dot. Does that mean we're essentially done with this, or is it going to be continuing work?
Some of this stuff is done. So so the Student Connect sessions were redesigned and implemented for this past academic year. The FIDIAC, the program expanded to FIDIACs is implemented for, even though it takes effect for fall 17, it's fall 17 advising, which started in March when the semester registration started. So that's why those are set up. And we're still looking at academic intervention. We're still looking at processes to address the students who are in academic intervention processes. So that's why that still hasn't.
My hope would be that this isn't, okay, we're done with that, but that we would continue to get the feedback from how these programs are working and refine them going forward.
Yes, that's a given.
Trustee DeVarty, if I may.
Blanco.
None of these are done. What
Okay.
it means is, as a strategic goal, we accomplished the goal. We set it up, and now we're ready to go.
Okay.
So now it's going to be, once after it becomes strategic, then it becomes part of operational, an expectation that we do ongoing. And based on that, just for the whole board to know, that's when we can, with these new initiatives, that's where we can start setting some benchmarks to see how we're doing, what kind of impact, make some changes along the way.
But
It's a good
okay, so
question.
the green dots, maybe I'm misinterpreting what the green dots mean.
Well, Julie, you want to talk about the green dots?
So many of these goals are set up as 3-year
Multi-year goals.
Multi-year goals.
Okay.
But not all of them. But for example, the ones that Linda and Cheryl just went through, most of the action steps associated with the goal were completed within this year. That doesn't mean the activity associated with that goal doesn't continue and that it won't still be evaluated or improved as it goes forward. But as President Blanca says, it becomes operationalized as part of the work of the division, department, or unit. So that's why the dots are, there aren't extended green dots for those because
Okay.
it's not part of this team's work to continue strategizing around it, if that makes sense. But that last one, the intervention, academic intervention process is a longer term goal to get in place. Does that make sense?
My other two questions are a little bit about a couple of the specific things. The one is the one with the concurrent enrollment in college level courses at the same time with remedial reading, and you said there were 200 some odd students that were doing that?
262.
And do we have, what kind of are we seeing positive results, like in the college level courses? Are they performing as well as people? I mean, are we satisfied with the performance level? Is it really paying off
Yes.
in terms of their education?
Yes.
Do we have
I could get
like
the
a
numbers.
grade
I don't
point
have the
numbers or
I
something?
don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I can get those for you.
And then I'm just curious, I really like the idea of the one-on-one student counseling, like students just working with other students. The students that are giving their time, or are they doing that as work study? Is it just volunteer? And is there any sort of a recognition or reward system that can give them a sense of or extra thank you for that?
So the student ambassadors
Right.
who participate in the Student Connect, they do a lot of activities on campus. So they participate in the Student Connect sessions, but they also provide tours on campus. They do a lot of different activities with students. So it's not, and they're paid employees.
So they're paid, okay.
They have to be a student, so they're student employees.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Good evening. The team that myself and Claire Sparkling are responsible for is priority three, which is institutional agility and responsiveness to external forces and trends. The first goal of the team for 2016 and 17 is to set up a framework for creating a teaching and learning center. Now, toward that goal, faculty professional development, as represented by Mary Mulholland, created a framework for the TLC. And that framework was presented to the general faculty in fall of 2016. And TLC's mission is dedicated to the professional development of all faculty and staff. And also the vision is to create a culture of instructional innovation. Based on that framework created by Mary Mulholland, the planning team went to work and created a space plan, a floor plan, if you will, of the future TLC with the requisite technologies and furniture and whatnot for the future. And the advisory team went to work also and began working on a year-round consolidated central calendar of professional development opportunities for all faculty and staff, full-time and part-time. We are now working on the calendar for fall semester 2017. The second goal of the team is to create an electronic portal of TLC to go along with that. And that portal was finished in the fall of 2016. It serves multiple purposes. The portal serves as a searchable archive of all the wonderful instructional innovations done by faculty members in the classroom. It serves as a central location where faculty members can get resource funding for classroom innovations. It serves as an award corner to highlight the awards received by different faculty members and also the future home of the calendar. So I'm going to turn to Claire to talk about OERs.
So our goal number 3 was to increase continued development of OER courses. OER stands for Open Educational Resources, and it's free or low-cost texts for our students, which we know positively correlates with their success and their retention. So we really want to support the use and development of OER in our classes. The second part of the goal is to focus on MTA courses, and so this is just to get the biggest bang for our buck. Let's put these OER in the courses where students need them the most. So to do that, our action items, the first thing that we did back in October was we developed an OER course development guidelines and faculty contract. This is in line with national best practices that if we want to encourage our faculty to create OER, we want to create a pathway for them to do that and give them support. Some OER are as simple as pulling a textbook off the shelf, reviewing it, and adapting a course. But many disciplines and many courses don't have that kind of high quality text OER available. So this contract is in place to help support those faculty that need extra time to be able to develop something. Also, along with developing that course, the guidelines and contract, we've also looked at focusing OER development on MTA 30+ credit transfer course requirements and identifying courses for OER development. So we have the list of that biggest bang for our buck, if you will. In January's in-service at the beginning of the year, we also focused training for faculty in how to develop OER courses. And moving forward, like this summer, we are on track with faculty to investigate converting 6 MTA courses into OER courses as well. So this is so exciting. I am using OER in my classes. My students are so thankful. And I'm really glad that as a college, we can help support and move ourselves forward with this.
Just for some of the new trustees, and to refresh my memory, what is an OER?
So an OER is an open educational resource, and it is a free textbook, if you will. So this is the textbook that I use in public speaking this semester, and it lives on my Blackboard site. It's digital. My students can take it to our copy center on campus and print it out for about $14. Otherwise, they can check it out from the library. It's available to them. And it looks and feels just like a real textbook would. Because it is a real textbook, and it's created by experts in the field. It's high quality, and my students absolutely love knowing that all of them have access to the textbook. They don't have to worry about paying for groceries or buying a textbook. They just get it. And what a difference it makes in my classes. They come in, they know the information, everybody can participate. I love OER.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that this is finally, we've heard about it before, and now it's really working. I'm glad to hear this results. Thank you.
Oh,
yes.
Do you have a sense of what your textbook cost was before that?
Yes. So this one we were able to get for, the other version was about $60. The textbook that we were using in interpersonal communication cost about $200, and we've replaced the OER across the board in those sections with a free textbook.
Great.
Thanks to Bonnie too. She had a sabbatical to do that, and which we wouldn't have that without her having the sabbatical.
All right, great. Yes.
How many OERs do we have right now that we're using?
We have about 30 courses that have been developed or are being developed into OER courses.
Have we found, I was really excited by this, I want to say, when we had the presentation this past year, as one of the ways that we can really get at making college more affordable for the most economically distressed students, and I'm very excited by it. Have we found any other colleges that are looking to us and accessing some of the OERs that I know we've developed here?
Yeah. No, those OERs are licensed by Creative Commons, so they are licensed at different kind of licensing restrictions, and many of them are free to the public, so to speak.
But if we develop one here, I'm just wondering if somebody at Macomb or Oakland or Wayne County Community College wants to make use of it, they can make use of it, can't they?
If we license at the most permissive level of Creative Commons, yes, everybody can.
Are we doing that?
So I can speak a little bit to that. I just was on sabbatical over the winter, and I developed a OER for intercultural communication. Currently, there's none available. There's absolutely none. And so right now it's complete. I need a few more steps. I need somebody that knows how to do technical writing to do it over. I'd like to have it laid out like this,
right?
Instead of just being a long document. So most of the OER that are available, they have had, work done to them. I'm not this talented to lay something out, but the content is there. So I think in a lot of cases, the OER that we have developed, either through sabbaticals or other means, we need a few more steps in order to be able to roll them out. I would think. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a resource question. Potentially, that if we devoted some resources to this, we could potentially put them into a form that would make them more attractive and usable by other entities.
It pretty much comes down to where our priorities lie.
Right.
With the same resources, can we get more instructors under contract to create more OER for our own environment?
And then with the Michigan transfer ones, the MTAs, how many OERs do we have in those courses?
Well, actually, I have a list of MTA courses that are already in the OER format, so to speak. So we are talking about, I won't list them all, but I'm going to give you some examples. English 226, Com 101, 102, Biology 101, 102. They tend to be very expensive in terms of textbook costs. Chemistry 111, 122. Psychology 296, English 214, for example. Those are MTA transferable courses.
And then it sounded like you have a wish list of other courses you want to develop OERs in those MTAs. How many are on that list? And how do we have a timeline to try to address that? And what sort of resources do we need to make it happen?
We are now focusing on 6 MTA courses, and those are the courses with big enrollments, like psychology and sociology and whatnot. So it's a matter of a faculty member to come forward, willing to do that, and then work with the instructional dean in that area and work out an arrangement where they can work on the OER, because it takes a lot of work, as you can attest, in terms of.
So this is an area where it's possible a faculty person may get as part of their salary, release time from teaching in order to develop an OER, or is it totally that they're giving their time in order to make it happen?
No, it won't be a release time, but it will be some kind of reward.
Compensation?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the contract has been developed, whether or not anyone's used it yet or know about it.
Yes, Ruth?
With respect to the OERs, you say now that you have essentially text, but you need sort of graphic design help with the, can you get that on campus? Do we have the facilities to do that, or do you have to go someplace else? I mean, I'm wondering if this is very much like online courses, where we have a whole facility for developing online courses, and maybe we need the same kind of initiative for developing OERs.
I'm glad you bring up that point, Trustee Hatcher, because DL, in the distance learning
Right.
online courses, and I have been talking about providing more support for face-to-face faculty members
Sure.
in converting the resources online, because whether you're teaching face-to-face or online, those are electronic materials sooner or later. So to convert that into a Blackboard environment, they need faculty members need really direct support.
Right, and I think it would be interesting to explore the opportunity to do that. The other question I have is your work with the Teaching and Learning Center, which I have lived through several iterations of that in my 30 years here as teaching. There have been several teaching and learning centers. But I'm wondering how that fits into the professional development and one umbrella concept. Because it seems to me it's related. Those two committees need to talk to each other.
Yeah, actually, we work very closely together.
Okay.
The members from Team 1 are in Team 3 too.
Oh,
and
what?
we are the umbrella that you talked about.
Okay, thank you.
One follow-up, specifically about resources. This OER thing is so important to making education more economically accessible. And I'd like to see the Board of Trustees, if there's a need for resources to make this happen, I'd like to know from our Vice President for Finance what kind of resources we could commit in this area and facilitate this moving forward with more haste. Boy, I'm not that we just want to throw it together slapdash. We want to do a good quality job. But given that we need, if there are resource needs to make it happen, I think this is a kind of issue that should come to the trustees and say, we are committed to putting some resources, if we are as a board, and this is something that I'd like to see us discuss as a board, is this an area that we could see increasing our resource commitment in order to make this happen more quickly? And it's really exciting what's been happening. The new trustees weren't here when this was first presented last year, but it's something that is really forward-thinking for education accessibility, economic.
President Polanco?
Yes, for all the board members, we proposed a budget.
Yes.
And within that budget, we have taken into consideration the 6 courses that are being proposed to move forward. There's also a contract that, or I'm going to call it a contract, that's been developed, and you might speak to it better than I can, where we can compensate the faculty member for doing this. We rarely say no, ever, and we always support. I'd say always. We encourage this across the board. So just so all the trustees know that this is a priority. And actually, this priority dates back 6 years.
Exactly.
Because the goal of the board at that time was to reduce the cost of textbooks.
Exactly.
And we tried everything. And this is the result of that goal. So I want to thank you so much, and all the faculty and that have worked on this, and you also.
Excuse me, Ruth, if you don't mind. I would like to make a comment on this. The OER was presented at Michigan Community College Association Summer Conference 6 years ago. I was there, and a couple other previous board members were there. We brought it back to then President Whitworth, and that's when it started. So this isn't a new concept. This is something that's been going on. It's just finally coming to fruition. And that's why I'm very pleased, and everyone is pleased that this is happening. But this started not just here. The presentation started out in California and a few other places. So this isn't a new concept. This has been going on for quite some time, a long, long time, in fact. So I just want everybody to understand that this is a new concept for us, but it's not a new concept for higher learning educational institutions, and we're just now getting on board with this. Yes, Hatcher.
I respect the fact and appreciate the fact that faculty requesting time and money to do this are given. But what I'm suggesting is something more like the offices of distance learning, where if you have an idea for teaching a class online, you go and you get all the technical help you need in order to do that, not just the contract time and so forth, because even your presentation on your new text, you need now some technical help to format it. So our distance learning, I think, offices are incredibly well respected in the state. We do an excellent job of preparing quality distance learning classes, and I think I would like to see us devote some resources, some serious resources, to developing that same kind of quality process and support for faculty doing those texts. That's my point.
If I may, I'd like to, this team, since it's a cross-functional team, is there another member that would like to respond? Yes.
Thank you, President Blanca. I'm going through that right now with 3 years ago, I developed a new course, and I looked at the materials that were available, and I'm in the tech program with very high-level reference books. There really wasn't a textbook for this. So I started providing my students with my lecture notes in digital form. That, over the past 3 years, that has evolved into about a 450-page book. Now, I don't need compensation. I think I just heard my parents roll over in their grave. but I do need to support just exactly what we're talking about, Trustee Hatcher, because we're struggling with this right now. We're taking that course online, and we're trying to figure out how do we take this, this book, which is in a one-note format, and translate this maybe something more appropriate. Right now, we just are going to keep it in that form, but to be honest with you, I don't have the time to be researching all this and figuring out, what software I can use to turn this into an ebook and things of that sort. Right. We need that in-house expertise to do that, and I think the Office of Distance Learning, CITL, is probably the best place for that resource.
At least it provides a model for how to how to provide that.
Trustee McKay.
Just so that I have an understanding, when you're saying that you need the resource support bodies to help you transition from the physical to the digital, in the distance learning department, and I'm new, and I'm still learning the different departments and how they function so far. So help me to further understand, in the distance learning area, there is not a component there that maybe be in its own minute stage that can help get something started, or is just nothing there at all, and the IT department is not able to separate itself if it's just one or two bodies to participate in the transitioning phase for the faculties like yourself?
Excuse me. I would go to the Vice President.
Conversation. And Claire, I think, I'm gonna put a couple words in her mouth. I think she was saying she just finished it and had not got to that point yet.
Okay.
We have graphic design students, we have, there's not one resource that's mentioned that we either couldn't find a student to help with, or that is not in the distance learning department. And the distance learning department has worked with Victor, and Victor's being shy. Victor's department, the library, they will do research, they're finding resources for people. So it is our goal, it has been our practice to make sure that people have the assistance they need, so that faculty are only serving as a subject matter expert. And if there are additional resources to especially get those MTA classes, OER, it is all budgeted for next year. So our hope is that next year, we can come back and say that all the MTA courses have an OER.
Oh, okay.
So we appreciate the support, but I think we got it. We just need to keep working and figuring out how to make this as easy as possible for faculty so they can be the experts. But we, of course, have all this technical
That's a great
expertise on
team.
kids.
Right, that's why I was
Yeah.
just a little confused, and I appreciate you clarifying that. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So the struggles had already been identified that were occurring in the past, is being rolled out and taken care of now going forward.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And a lot of this is just everybody's approached it differently because they need to. And so we're all, we're learning, what'll make, Mike's problem with the IT textbook is a little bit more unique than some of maybe a nursing or communication or some of the general education courses, but we do have the resources. So we really appreciate the support,
Okay.
but we do have the resources.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
well,
We talked about that enough.
I'm glad to hear this because, it was getting kind of out of control here with these questions and a little bit longer than we anticipated. Yes?
I'll just add one quick thing. The OER, what we developed was course development guidelines along with the contract. So it steps faculty through step-by-step best practices to create an OER and puts them in the line to receive the support that they need every step along the way.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that it?
Priority 4, visibility and branding.
Hi, I'm Brendan Prebo. I'm the AVP for Marketing and Communications. Mike Gailey and I are responsible for Priority 4, which is visibility and branding. Our priority has 3 goals, which is to further the work on the redesign of the college website to increase access, awareness, and visibility of WCC's brand. The second goal is to continue and increase WCC's presence at high-profile events such as Comic-Con. And the third goal is to complete implementation of digital badges as a strategy to provide students with online credentials and position WCC as an educational institution focused on skill development and employability. I'll talk about the first 2, which is the website and the events, and then Mike will talk a little bit about the events, specifically Comic-Con, as well as the digital badges. So with respect to the website, we've completed phase 2, which is the needs assessment and the information architecture development. A content management system has been selected and content migration has commenced on the new content management system. And I'll kick this over to Bill Johnson, who can provide some additional details regarding how input was gathered and considered during phase 2.
During phase 2, we started out with looking at all our key stakeholder groups, and that included both faculty and staff. We had over 35 stakeholders, and then we asked a bunch of students as well in all the different market segments. And that really was key to starting the information architecture. And that was built off the foundation of a vision, which was really phase 1. And in that session, we had similar kind of reach out to key stakeholder groups.
Okay. On the second goal, which is the visibility at high-profile events, we've continued to add to our presence and visibility at events such as the North American International Auto Show, Tech Twilight, Comic-Con, and additional on-campus events such as WCC&U. WCC&U is a campus-wide open house that provides potential students of all ages and their families the opportunity to learn about WCC programs and interact with our programs in a hands-on manner. We had our first event this April, and we had over 200 attendees. So it was a really an incredibly successful event in terms of bringing in the community and potential students and letting them really get a hands-on sense of what we do here at WCC. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mike to talk about Comic-Con.
This is the fun part of the program. So we've just completed another successful exhibit there at Comic-Con. If you're not familiar with Comic-Con, it's short for Comic Book Convention. It draws somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50,000 plus people from around the Midwest and even further away. Last year we exhibited and we were able to sort of get our feet wet. And we got about 130 some contact cards that we followed up on. This year, on Friday, and I was there Friday, I was there most of the day on Saturday, Channel 4 stopped by our booth because we were at community college there, even though I know in last year, remember, we had a couple of folks come by and say, why isn't our school doing this? But anyway, and I think we ended up on the Friday night news on Channel 4. But given that, we collected over 140 contact cards this time. And what we're doing differently than last year is that we are going to have an on-campus event. And we're going to invite all 140 students to come to that event. We're going to buy them some pizza and take them tours of our labs and things of that sort. Because, you know, I'm in the tech program and you know, the folks that you find at places like Comic-Con and some of these other kind of events are really our demographic. You know, and if you know what our demographic is, I invite you to watch the Big Bang Theory on Thursday night. That's exactly who we're targeting. Sorry, I thought it was very successful, and I was really very pleased with that. The other good news is the Cyberauto Challenge. We found out about this sort of late last semester, so we couldn't really associate our students very well, but we did get 2 students apply for this. And what the Cyberauto Challenge is, what little I know about it is basically they're bringing in a bunch of industry experts, engineers, hackers, things of that sort, and they're going to try to basically have a week-long sort of workshop where they're going to try to hack cars, okay? And they went out to various universities and colleges, and I'm pleased to report that we had at least, I know one of our students that applied was selected to participate in this, and I believe the other one did also, but I haven't confirmed that yet. So I'm very proud that we're able to participate in that. That's great. On the digital badges, we rolled those out in CS100. I reported on this, I think, in the previous board meeting, I think last fall. They've really gained in popularity in our CS100 courses, certainly in my sections, and from what I hear other faculty in those sections also. I haven't received a report yet from Pearson, but we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about close to 1,000 WCC branded badges floating around social media and LinkedIn and everything else. Now, and I use the term badges really inappropriately, because they're really credentials, because you earn these badges because you actually, you know, pass a certain threshold on a capstone activity in this course, and it's really linked back. So if a student posts their badge to social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, and an individual clicks that badge, for example, a prospective employer clicks that badge, it takes them back to the Your Claim site, and there it will provide all the information about the skills learned and things of that sort. So there's that level of certification. Okay. I'm also pleased to report that that we just signed a contract with Parchment, and we're going to take our degrees and certificates and be providing digital credentials. And again, I distinguish those from badges for our students, and Linda Blake can speak a little bit more about that. But that will give the opportunity for our students to actually have this digital credential that they can post to LinkedIn. And for those of you that were here a couple weeks ago at the Economic Club luncheon, where my very proud nephew spoke, who former employee of LinkedIn, I had a conversation with him, and LinkedIn derives most of their revenue from HR departments, from corporations. They're mining, their database for prospective, employees. Having that badge on LinkedIn, that digital credential on LinkedIn is really very, very important for that. Also, I'm sure the board is pleased to hear that University of Michigan is following our lead. Last week, I met with the Munger Transdisciplinary Program Manager at their request, because they wanted to come to the experts on badges in the area, and they came to WCC. They are planning on, and this is for graduate students and professional students, they're planning a series of workshops to teach what we essentially call soft skills. Things like teamwork, leadership, communications, things of that sort. Because they've recognized, while it's good they've got some very bright and talented people, they need to be able to communicate. They need to be able to work. And today, that's exactly what employers are going to, the ability to work in a team, things of that sort. So they're going to be implementing badges and that they will, again, their participants, when they complete this workshop, will be able to post to places like LinkedIn or whatever, and they came to us for advice on how to roll out this program. That's all I have to report.
Okay, I guess we move this down.
Are there any questions? Yes, Dave.
Just simple question. When we do events like Comic-Con and other events, is there a presence of students and faculty there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
we have faculty there, we have students. We typically call in our lab aides for our students to help.
So, for example, with Comic-Con, would we be promoting our really top-notch animation program?
We promoted animation, digital video, our networking, and our IT programs.
And students are there doing that?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a lot of interest this year. A lot of course. And again, when you look at recognition, there's thousands of eyes that fell upon our WCC brand, even though we only collect 140 cards. So I think that's really important.
I'm Dr. Michelle Mueller, and co-chairing with me tonight is Valerie Greaves, but normally...
Dr. Valerie Greaves.
Dr. Valerie Greaves, that's right. That's, well, congratulations. And co-chairing with me normally is Deanna Gapp, who is a faculty member from the healthcare area faculty. And unfortunately, Deanna wasn't able to be here tonight, so Valerie, thank you for stepping in. So we are responsible for a number of different goals, and the first one that I want to talk to relates really to career services and career placement, those types of things at the college. One of the things that we did this year is that we charged actually the assistant director of career services with developing a dashboard, an institutional dashboard for operations for career services, so that we could start to benchmark our performance from year to year and take a look at where we needed improvement, et cetera. But one of our goals really was to increase our outreach and increase our impact with students and employers, et cetera. So I'm pleased to report to you today that we were able to increase the number of attendees at career services events. We had 13 last year. We had 13 this year, but we increased participation of students by 47%. We went from 1,000 students attending our events to almost 2,000. So that was a great win for us, and really very happy that students are becoming more involved with the career services activities. In addition to that, we increased requests for services provided by career services by 8%. And what that means is that with regard to resume writing services and helping students with the interviewing skills and doing document reviews, et cetera, we went from 3,661 requests last year to 3,970 requests this year. which was a significant difference. We also increased the number of students that we saw through face-to-face appointments by 18%. Last year we held 667 appointments. This year we held 811 of those appointments. And for the first time, we had an experiential learning coordinator on campus that worked with faculty to place students into experiential learning opportunities, and we were able to place 42 students this year. So this is the first year that we've done it in collaboration with the faculty, and so we're very pleased to report that to you. Now, with regard to apprenticeships, this year we created 47 new apprenticeships for a total of 61 apprentices that participate in those programs, and a total of 16 different advanced manufacturing companies that are involved. Next year we'll focus on IT companies, but this year we finished out with advanced manufacturing companies in particular. Additionally, we hosted a week of events for the first time ever. We promoted National Apprenticeship Week. And we had a number of events that happened, and we also developed an Ironworkers pre-apprenticeship program that we launched the recruitment for that'll start in the fall. We also hosted the National Building Trades Council annual fall conference. We've never done that before. And as a result of having those folks on our campus, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the Operative Plasterers and Cement Masons International Association have asked that WCC become their national union training site. So they want to add to the good work that we're already doing with the UA, the sprinkler fitters, of course, and with the iron workers. And we also completed and implemented a 2017 fall recruiting and marketing strategy, which targets UA apprentices to complete the associate degree. So we've got union pipe fitters apprentices and plumber apprentices all over the country internationally that we service, and they're completing these apprenticeships, but we have failed in the past to put together a real strong marketing and recruiting program for those students to complete the liberal arts for their associate degrees. So we had Chris Haslinger work with us, and he helped us to identify some of the leading apprenticeship sites in the country. And he's strongly encouraging those folks, if not paying for those associate degrees, to be able to do the completion of the liberal arts online. So we have yet to see it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what those numbers look like in the fall semester and how that impacts enrollment. In terms of, well, we'll let you take over with the
Center of Excellence?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to be able to talk to you tonight about the Nursing Center of Excellence that our faculty have decided to take the path towards. It's actually something that we've kind of tossed around for several years. Faculty thinking maybe we should do this, maybe we should wait a while, and we finally got to the point where we thought, we're ready, we got this, we can do this. So they've decided they want to go forward and start the process, and actually I call it a journey because it's going to be a journey of several years before we actually have a site visitor come out and evaluate our site. So what it is, it's a Center of Excellence for Nursing, and it's sponsored by the National League of Nursing, our #1 association for nursing educators in the United States. It's actually international now as well. But in order to achieve this, it's a very prestigious honor to be called a Center of Excellence with the National League of Nursing. And there's a lot of things that they look for. Student outcomes is a big factor that they'll look for. We actually have to supply them with qualitative and quantitative data on our student outcomes. They'll look for the credentialing of our nursing faculty. So I currently have nursing faculty are working on, I have several that are already certified nurse educators and some that are in the process of becoming certified nurse educators, which are things that they like to see as well. They like to see evidence-based practice and best practices taking place in our curriculum, and we're doing that currently by expanding our simulation, which thank you all for approving our human simulator. So we are expanding that and working on a new lab that we'll be adding this spring, summer. And so it's just a very exciting time. And I'd like to share with you some of the steps they have taken towards this year. We've actively been pursuing this. And they have developed a faculty committee that consists of 7 nursing faculty as well as myself. And we had the opportunity to speak with, there's only 2 community colleges that are honored to have this title currently. It's typically something that universities would have, a Center of Excellence in Nursing. But there are 2 community colleges out there, so we were fortunate to be able to work with these 2 colleges. Philadelphia Community College and Alabama State Community College was willing, their faculty and dean, to meet with us and discuss how they went about their journey to become Centers of Excellence. So it was a great experience and really got faculty very, very excited. And after the meeting, everybody's like, we got this, we can do this. So we're excited to be moving forward. A couple of things that we have done in preparations for this is this spring, summer, nursing faculty worked very hard, and I do mean very hard. They were here all spring, summer, working on their curriculum. We're revamping the entire nursing curriculum to be a concept-based curriculum rather than what we have traditionally taught for years and years. Studies out there are showing that concept-based, with nursing and medicine now having so much information overload, it's very difficult to teach programs in the health areas because there's so much knowledge. So we continually, you probably have heard of like information overload is what happens. So we put a nursing student in a nursing program, and we still only have 2 years to make them a nurse. But we have probably triple the knowledge about medicine and nursing than when I was in a nursing school years ago. So the most current form, what we're seeing good student outcomes with, is utilizing a concept-based curriculum. And it's based on students learning concepts and then being able to take these concepts throughout the curriculum and expand upon these concepts. And we've been very successful with the few programs that we know that are utilizing this. So this is what we will start. We'll start our first cohort. We'll do a teach out of all our other nursing students that are in the former nursing program, but this fall will mark the beginning of our first cohort of the concept-based curriculum. So we're excited about that.
Great. So the final 2 goals, one in particular as it relates to increasing their STEAM programming through K through 12 in community enrichment. We added 3 new K through 12 spring summer programs, so we have 16 now in total. One of them is career exploration, and we've done a lot of work with the business and computer technologies area to be able to offer that piece. We added one of the programs is aviation, so you want to fly. And the third one is the art of invention for teens. Now, enrollments as of the same time last year are this year 142 students versus 106 last year. So we're very excited by this opportunity. And finally, let's talk about WCC being a national leader in mobility technology through expanded activity in the Advanced Transportation Center. First and foremost, we implemented the Community College Skills Trades Equipment Program grant, resulting in over $8 million of new equipment and revised curriculum that aligns with the needs of business and industry. So very happy about that, and we actually even got a little bit of extra money because we were so good at how we spent our money. So they liked what we were doing when they visited, and they gave us a little more. We also awarded a grant. We were awarded a grant in partnership with the University of Michigan, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Purdue University, and Akron University to develop traffic technician workforce development training and college credit outreach and planning, including the addition of engineering into the ATC model. So that was a significant award for us. We also participated in the North American International Auto Show, as Brendan said, and that was not by accident. We actually petitioned hard with the state of Michigan to make sure that Washtenaw Community College was the community college that they invited to the International Auto Show to participate. As a result of that, we had a shout out from the governor for the great work that we're doing in the mobility space, which I'm sure we were all happy about. And we are hosting a session at the Mackinac Policy Conference next week entitled Creating the Talent Pipeline for the Mobility Workforce. We are partnering with Wayne County Community College District on that. So speakers will include Dr. Blanca, Dr. Curtis Ivory, and Roger Curtis from the Talent and Economic Development Agency for the state of Michigan, who reports directly to the governor, and Paul Krutko will be the monitor from Ann Arbor Spark. And one other thing, we researched potential opportunities that Willow run with the American Center of Mobility. That was one of our goals, and we did that this year. And most recently, and I have to say this one, we got an email today from a university in northern France, and they're going to be in Ann Arbor, and they want to meet with us to talk about the great work that we're doing here at Washtenaw Community College. They're working with 5 different countries and on vehicle-to-infrastructure projects, and they want to know how community colleges in the United States, particularly ours, is working with the University of Michigan and Business and Industry in Ann Arbor Spark to be able to meet the needs of the emerging workforce. So we are absolutely delighted by
And when
that.
you need trustees to visit France with you, I certainly will offer my services.
Okay, I'll take that.
And when is this going to be?
In June. I think it's 13th and 14th. 13th, maybe 13th through the 15th.
Yeah, great. Trustee Hatcher?
I just want to thank you for giving us numbers.
Oh.
I appreciate having concrete, there were 61 students, and 3 more of the others, and I appreciate that information. Thank you. And good luck for the center in nursing.
Thank you.
Sounds wonderful.
Trustee Hatcher?
The STEAM with the K through 12 programs, is that all on campus here? And that's our community education. Are we doing, or would anything that we're doing as a programmatic thing with center or with public schools or anything in other parts of the county, where would that be reflected? Or do we have anything in the strategic goals for that K through 12 STEAM?
So the STEAM programming that we do is really focused on the enrichment area.
Okay.
And then we work, of course, with the college credit side of the house. They partner with us on some of these programs because they're great capacity building strategies, for their programs for occupational areas. But Linda Blakey has a number of different initiatives that really relate to the K-12 college credit.
And those are totally separate from what you're talking about. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
You said that UA does a lot of online study with us. Is there also an on-campus aspect to UA, which is going to work here with us?
Well, there's training, right? So there's the UA Training Week, as you know, as I'm sure you know, Trustee Milliken, happens in August, and they're training trainers from around the world, on our campus. And our faculty participate in some of those training activities, and so they're directly, involved with that. Also, the sprinkler fitters are on campus, and they're running their own online programming, actually from the Washtenaw Community College campus. They have a contract with us to do that 365 days a year.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hey, just to follow up on what Trustee Milliken was asking about, I think what he was getting at was the expanding beyond the skills training for UA things, but towards an associate degree in liberal arts. So does any of that, even for people in this area who are UA members, does any of that happen on campus, or it was addressed as an online thing that we
Sure,
were
they could do it
offering?
on campus if they were close to the college. I mean, it's a prescribed set of, I think, 5 liberal arts classes. They have to be completed. Kim, is that right? I believe it's 5 liberal arts classes. They have to be completed, and then they utilize the training that they've had through apprenticeship as part of the degree program. So part of it's completed through apprenticeship, and then the other part is accounted for through college credit liberal arts programming that we have on campus and available to them.
And that's something that we're marketing that expanded associate degree to that constituency.
Yes.
The UA apprentices.
Yes. Chris Haslinger in specific, I talked to him about the fact that, I thought that there was an opportunity there that we hadn't taken advantage of. And he agreed, and he said, you know what, I'll pay for it. And so he identified some of his apprenticeship programs in the country, one in Philadelphia in particular, to be able to pilot. But after thinking about it, he asked us if we would actually market it to all of them across the country and across the world. So.
Thank you.
Okay, for time, 6:30 now, so we want to move on to the next one.
This is down to.
I'm doing two duties here.
Thank you.
So this is priority 6, academic partnerships. So one of the big goals that we had this year was to look at our general education alignment. And so we had a really good, strong committee that included faculty and administrators, and 2 of our faculty, David Wooten and Michelle Geary, took the lead, did a lot of surveys with our faculty, as well as hosted a town hall meeting. And together, the committee worked and looked at our looked at MTA, which is the Michigan Transfer Agreement, and our general education requirements. We actually put together a recommendation. Bill Abernathy put together a recommendation, and you'll see more detail about that in the fall in regards to us aligning our general ed requirements to the Michigan Transfer Agreement. So that was one of our big goals, that the fruits are coming in the fall for that one. The second piece was that we were looking to increase the number of articulation agreements that we have. And so we have 4 brand new articulation agreements this year. One with EMU for information assurance and cyber defense, another one with EMU for photography, and then we had one with nursing, with the college Indiana Wesleyan nursing program, as well as Rowan University in construction management. So we have 4 new articulation agreements, and we actually had 14 renewals of articulation agreements. What we found is, from an articulation standpoint, more schools are actually contacting us, and so it's made some of our articulation, our partnership work a little bit easier than it has been in the past. And so that's a big strategy for us, is to make sure those articulation agreements are up to date, and also a good pathway for our students to bachelor degree programs. The final thing that I want to highlight is that we are looking at our guided pathways, kind of opportunities to really have clear pathways for our students. And we've actually identified our Healthcare Foundations program as an area where we have a lot of students who are looking to go into healthcare careers, and there is an option for them to do that, but some of that pathway is not as clear as it needs to be for them to get into some of our second-tier admission programs, like radiography and nursing and some of those other healthcare programs. And so we've developed a committee and some goals around guided pathways, and putting together a plan for 2017 to actually have a more clear and intentional approach to talking to students about what healthcare careers look like, and what their expectations should be around math and science, and what are some other options in healthcare if maybe their first choice is not something that works for them or maybe fits what their skill sets are. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, priority team 7 is funding and resources. Consists of myself, Phil Snyder, and Bill Johnson. I'll start off. One of the large overreaching areas we wanted to look at was physical space of the campus and reducing any need to expand if we don't need to, and conserving the resources that we have. So one of the things we thought would be good to do is to do a space study, a utilization of the entire campus. So that study was done over a 6-month period. It was presented to the deans, the administration, and department chairs. In a nutshell, it sort of showed that we have more than enough space for the courses that we're offering on campus here. What we're lacking is enough student space. The plan is now going forward is to present this study to our master plan consultant to help them develop the master plan, understanding the kind of spaces that we have and how we use those spaces. One of the other things we wanted to accomplish was to reduce our greenhouse gases, which is our CO2. And that is the college is part of the American College and University President's climate commitment. And that commitment requires us to be at net zero by 2060. So 15% reduction that we had planned as a goal for 2018. We are more than halfway through that now. We're at 9% going through this year. The other thing we wanted to do is look at alternative ways of transportation. So one of the greenhouse gas issues is transportation is a big thing. So this being the funding and resource priority, we wanted to look at, are there other sources of funding out there that we could look at to improve or enhance transportation. Aside from driving, walking and both pedestrian and bicycling to campus was one of those areas we looked at. So the goal was to at least find some funding, if available, for that. And we were able to write a grant through SIMCOG, and pleased to report that we were able to get that grant. We were awarded it a few days ago. The project involves a almost 2,000-foot, close to over a third of a mile, sidewalk and bicycle path from Huron River Drive and Clark Road to the college's main entrance at the traffic signal and the fitness center. $453,000 is the total amount of the project, and the funding, I think, is just under $300,000 from SIMCOG. The last thing I want to speak to is the Sustainability Council, which is our combination of both staff and faculty group, which consists of about 12 members, and there are 7 working groups. And so we've been trying to look at ways to, again, reduce consumption. And we target a building, we target T&I as a reduction of 5% of electrical consumption this year. We're at 4.6 right now. We should meet that by the end of June. And we'll pick another building going to next year. And going forward, the other thing we want to accomplish is a PPA, which is a power purchase agreement, which would be a way to get solar power without any upfront cost to the college. We're looking at some companies developers who develop solar arrays, not just in Michigan, but not just in our area, but in other states even. And we can tap into that. And if we buy that electricity over a long-term period, we can further reduce our greenhouse gases and reduce obviously our consumption, our costs. So those are just some of the things that we're doing in the facilities area.
I'm sorry, may I ask a question before we go to the next person? For the transportation goal, have you thought about replacing Wcc vehicles with either electric or hybrid to further reduce that?
We're doing that now.
Well, I'm reminded of, we have a campus police proposal where you want to buy 2 cars. Maybe that's an opportunity to maybe adjust the budget on that, to look at hybrid or electric, since we're going to be buying cars?
The hybrids are a little more expensive as first cost, but they do certainly pay for themselves later on in the back end. So
okay,
we will look at that.
That's my question.
Yes.
DTE's deployed some solar farms around the county. Would DTE want to come to Washtenaw Community College campus and deploy a solar array?
DTE has approached us actually to very similar to what they did on Plymouth for the old Pfizer site. The only downside to that proposal is they just want the land. They just want the land and be able to put their array on. They don't want to sell the electricity back to us.
Never mind.
I would like to say Damon's being very modest about the SIMCOG award. I am just so ecstatic about that. And I am on that SIMCOG Transportation Committee, and I feel so fortunate that our school was chosen to get this project, to get the money from SIMCOG to do this project. Several reasons. One, Damon submitted this proposal last year, was it?
Actually, the beginning of this year.
Beginning of this year. Normally, it takes 2 to 3 years to get a project funded. So we are extremely fortunate to get this done in the short period of time that it was done. I can't say it's because of my presence, but I also can say that I hounded them a lot. I was constantly asking him, where was it at and how was it coming? So I'm hoping maybe that was some of the reason, but we were very, very fortunate to get this done, especially for our students who are walking here without feeling that they're competing with the traffic on foot. So I'm really happy with that. Okay, any other questions?
Well, there's still more areas.
I'm talking about with Damon.
Oh.
Yes.
Phil Snyder from the foundation. For the last 6 months, I've been working on moving some of the scholarship funding that's paid for by the college to the foundation. And I've really embarked on a kind of a long-term process, and it'll be that. The foundation right now awards about $750,000 a year to about 850 students. And there's a number that the college awards. By doing that process, we're going to be able to move and free up money for the budget to be used for other student-centered projects and support services. So I've really embarked on trying to understand the community capacity for giving that kind of money and the institutional capacity to raise the money. So I've worked a good deal with President Blanca and our board of directors for the foundation to understand who is.
I just was trying to get your eye contact to look at this side too.
We're trying to understand what the institution can do to raise the money. Right at this point, we're trying to also understand what the need of the college is. What type of scholarships do we need, and how much do we need to fund them? And so I've met with the academic leadership really extensively. The deans and I meet quite often. The vice presidents and, of course, the president and I talk a lot about it. The board has agreed that they would refocus their efforts to become fundraisers for this project and really see this and emergency needs of the students as the two top areas that we'll raise money for. So we've really begun to identify donors, match them with the needs, and then use board members to help us go to talk through what is the process and how could they get involved and how could they become donors to the scholarship project. We've tested it just a little bit over the last month or so in this, and we just recently, in fact last week, with the help of a photography faculty member, closed a $10,000 endowment scholarship that's going to be awarded to a second-year photography student. That's just with really just starting the process, but with the more experts internally we have and board members and trustees working on this, I am confident we can move this ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Great, and then another area that we wanted to focus on was the needs within the classroom and across the college to be able to serve our students regarding the equipment. And so one of the things we needed to do was to get an inventory of all the equipment. And so we used this year's budgeting process as a way of doing that. And so now we have our first draft, if you will, of a 5-year plan for the replacement of all equipment across campus that isn't maintained by Damon Flowers area, but rather is in each of the departments and really under the guise and the support of each of those departments. We want to make sure that we know what those funding requirements are. We now have sent that back out for validation. We'll build a 5-year plan, and our goal is that through the work that Phil Snyder and the foundation is going to do, that we'll be able to free up about $700,000 worth of general fund scholarship funding through additional and true incremental foundation funding, and to use that general fund money as a way to help support the equipment replacement needs across the campus. And so it would be a way for us to address that funding need for that. And then lastly, around student needs, student success, student retention. How do we get to understanding the needs of our students and the unique funding opportunities that might be there for that? So this first year, what we've done is really around data analysis. And so with the work of Linda Blakey and her team and Kim Hearns and her team and IT, we've started to bring to life the retention modules of our CRM tool. And that is to be able to align all the student data that we have and understand the early warning systems and needs of our students that might be the obstacles towards success. And so we are going to use this coming year, now that we're starting to bring the data to life, to use this coming year as a way to better understand what those trips might be, what those issues might be, and then from that, then start to identify funding opportunities that help our students and help the institution to better serve our students to overcome those issues.
Thank you.
Yes, and so now I'll present, Monique James, I'll present on the community development priority. And
I'm sorry.
I
There was
had
a
one
question,
on that last group, a question. And this is a philosophical issue for me, the replacing of scholarship funding from the college by private dollars. And my sense philosophically, and I'd like to maybe have a broader discussion at this, maybe at a board retreat, is that as long as any student here at our college has to take out loans in order to attend college, we don't have enough funding overall. So I'm for increasing the foundation money. I'm for finding sources to endow special scholarships. But I have to say, philosophically, I'm hesitant to say, as a goal, we should be reducing the college's commitment to financial aid as long as anybody is taking out loans here. I think we should be looking to increase our commitment to financial aid to make this indeed the most affordable place for people to go, and that people with economic distress have a way into higher education, post-secondary education through Washtenaw Community College. And that's the philosophical goal I would like to see. And it could be a subject for a board retreat. And I'm totally with you on expanding the funding, but I have problems with saying the purpose for it is so that we can reallocate money within our facilities budgets.
I'd just like to make a point that, the foundation is a separate entity from our board, and we cannot dictate their fundraising goals or their, they have a very highly qualified board that is an independent entity from us.
I'm speaking from our point of view.
Sure.
Our goal should be debt-free college.
And we understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I think that's everybody's goal.
That's our goal. Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Okay, so thank you. Community development is an integral part of what we do here at Washtenaw Community College, as well as a priority. And so the goals that you have before you to engage more strategically, to leverage existing partnerships, and to assess the impact are three important focus areas that this committee took under action this year. And so these goals resulted in great outcomes in community development. And the college is definitely engaged in the community and remains committed to keeping up the good work. This committee compiled a list of nearly 30 service providers that meet weekly at the Park Ridge Community Center, and that really keeps our fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the community. And with Eastern Washtenaw County, which includes services that we have or that we're providing, the college is providing at Park Ridge Community Center, the Harriet Street Center, and Ypsilanti Township, we served over 1,800 people in areas such as academic support, development and engagement, enrichment, career exploration, and workforce readiness. Additionally, here on campus, we hosted several walks, nationally recognized walks. So St. Jude's, the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. And through those three walks, WCC was instrumental in helping those organizations to raise $433,497.32. So that's a great accomplishment for our and testament to our engagement. 37 pints of blood were collected for the American Red Cross as part of our community engagement. And then Morris Lawrence, this building is a gateway to our community. And so last year or this year to this point, we've served, had over 3,225 external events with 44 first-time clients. So that means that, people are, they know about us and they want to have their events here. They want to be affiliated with the college. And we've also welcomed 82,319 people onto campus. And lastly, Free College Day culminated in September with our 50th anniversary celebration, and the time capsule will be unearthed in 25 years, so I hope to see everyone there when that takes place. And just so that you know, registrations have tripled since the program began in March of 2014. So we had over 1,100 registrations. 24 sessions were offered at the March Free College Day, and participants doubled. So as you can see, community development is a priority. There's a lot of work that's being done to keep us engaged. So thank you.
Yes.
Two comments. One is I'm glad we got those chillers in, since all those people are using this building, whatever a chiller is. But do we have a presence at the Park Ridge Monday meetings?
Yes.
Who goes to those?
So the community development manager, Anthony Williamson, is in attendance.
Okay.
And then also Shelley Zaravos, who is the Director of Community Enrichment and
Stand so everybody can
Operations.
see who you are, Shelley.
Yes. And Shelley is also on the Priority 8 committee with Tyrus Walls, Rachel Barsh, Patrick Downey from staff, and then Keela Samuels from faculty.
Yeah, I just wondering what our presence was at Park Ridge on Mondays. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, President Polanco?
Well, if there aren't any additional questions, I would like to thank the team leaders for all the work that you have done to bring these priorities into fruition, these goals to where they're at right now. It takes an incredible amount of work and time, and I sincerely thank you. And I know that you represent a group of people that might be working with you, as well as the impact that you have in engaging additional faculty and staff across campus. So thank you so very much. And I think as a board, you can see these 8 priorities certainly encompass a campus. This is like, it's so much to so many people. And thank you for making a huge difference. Behind here, we, at our one of our last ALT meetings, we just ask people, every year we do this, we ask everyone just to brainstorm, what are they especially proud of that we did here, that we accomplished at the college this year. So these are just some of the things. I'm not going to go through them if you want to look at them later. But everyone, it's amazing. They said things about other people's areas or something that someone else did, but what they felt they were especially proud of. And of course, commencement speaks of why we're here. Students that graduated, we had a successful commencement ceremony. And so thank all the faculty and staff and all the energy that everyone put in to accomplish our goals. It takes a lot of synergy, and you've got it. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you also for a wonderful report from everyone in their own disciplines, because this was very enlightening to hear each of you and what you've been doing since the last time we've met, but this is even more in-depth information. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. We're going into reports, personnel recommendations.
I think they're just switching, they're switching right now their seats.
Sure, that's fine. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Kristen Haley. I'm the interim vice president of human resources. And in your packet, it's a small packet, it's a small report this month, which is pretty typical for this time of year. The full-time new hires that we have this month are actually replacements for existing positions. And you'll see that the majority of the part-time new hires were in the instruction area, and that was in support for our spring and summer classes. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
I don't see anything. Yes, go ahead.
Was the full-time hire in public relations a replacement for Resler or an additional graphic design?
It was a replacement.
A replacement, okay, thank you. And do you have a sense of how many full-time positions are in process of hiring and discussion?
I'm not
20?
Not off the top of my head. Obviously working on, we have a couple of faculty that we're working through to fill. Obviously, our big fills are going to come after July 1 with the start of the new budget. And of course, all the supervisors are waiting for that time. But I can get you that.
Thank you.
That would be at our June meeting, that you would have that information?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
An action item?
I move we accept these recommendations.
Support. Moved and supported.
It's a voice vote, I think.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tab C, financial reports.
Thank you, Dick. In your report this month, once again, this is benchmarking against the revised budget. And you will note that on the revenue side that we are right on track with our revised budget across the board, including spring, summer enrollment. We are at or slightly above budget for the year. Property taxes is actually trending slightly above budget as well. On the expenditure side, we continue to trend slightly below budget, both in personnel and in non-personnel side. In answer to the question, Trustee Hatcher, around the number of vacancies that we have to budget, that may not be quite what is being filled at the moment. 27 vacant positions, full-time vacant positions at the end of April was what we had. And that's about average. We run in that mid-20 range is what the college runs at for the current year, with a lot of turnover from month to month to month within that. We anticipate that a portion of the direct expenditure positive variance, which is about half of the expenditure variance, is timing in nature. There are a lot of orders that have been placed and working through the purchasing department as we speak. But that we anticipate that the revised forecast that the board approved, which reallocated $3 million into capital, that we are going to be at or better than the revised budget for the year.
Any questions? Yes.
I'm looking at the first paragraph in the revenue, and it's actually reinforced on the itemized sheet. Revenues of $98 million, $98.6 million. Total expenditures and transfers, $85.6 million. So I'm looking at about a $13 million budget surplus. And I recognize that a little bit of that is timing, and then there's the $3 million that we reallocated, but shouldn't that already be in this or not?
Part of that will be, most of that is recognizing the fact that a large portion of our revenue is property taxes, and about 90% of that has already been received, yet that property tax money is there to help fund the balance of the year from an expenditure point of view. And likewise, a lot of the tuition and fee revenue has already been earned and recognized. And so there's a lot of front-end loading on revenues, and yet you have the balance of the fiscal year, the last quarter of the year, that still needs to be spent. And the college's run rate is about $8 million a month. So there's, there's still a fair amount of expenditures that have to come through for the year.
So
So it's
our-
very, very typical to have a surplus at this time.
But
of
our
year.
year end is June 30th, right?
Is June 30th.
So really one more month.
Well, this is once again, this is only through April results, so we still have May and June to come through. So as I mentioned, we anticipate that we are going to do better than the revised budget, which was to forecast a very minor surplus for the year. And so we think we will have a surplus for the year. It won't be $13 million. It'll be much lower than that.
Okay.
That's because of the bills haven't all been paid.
Correct. Yep.
And still coming in revenues and stuff.
Right.
And I just wanted to ask you too, under the revenue, the third paragraph, receipts for local government taxes, and you said it's 48.9 million through April, which represents 97.9%. Are we going to get, when are we planning to get the rest of that, of the money?
There's about a little under $1 million left. And really what that relates to is delinquent taxes that have not yet been paid. And what happens is in the last month of the year, the county, and many times the county will post a bond for it, and then they'll actually go and pay us what's left due to us, and then that burden for delinquent taxes is then put on the county to collect. So we'll get just under $1 million left in June yet.
In June, okay. That's part of the other one then. All right, leads into it. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm seeing year-to-date actual on the non-operating activity, an unrealized gain or loss. Now, I know an unrealized loss is just a difference in market value. Now, most of the securities, we're not buying and trading. Most of the securities we hold till redemption, right?
Correct. Actually, we very, very rarely would sell a fixed income instrument, a bond, in the open market. So what this really represents is the market-to-market value of our fixed income securities. And as interest rates rise, the value of our bonds goes down.
Right, I understand that. But that's not where, it's not like we're going to realize that loss. We're going to hold the bonds until they're redeemed.
Correct.
By the municipality or the treasury or whatever. So really, that's just a paper loss. That's not something that we should be concerning ourselves with.
Correct.
Any other questions? Hearing none, this is the action item. Is there
I move
motion?
we accept the financial reports.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to tab D, facilities.
A couple of highlights on the capital projects. The campus security upgrades is nearing completion, putting the additional lockdown devices and card readers in 8 buildings. There are about 60 devices, so we're in the programming stage of the devices right now. So that should be wrapped up in less than 30 days. Of the deferred maintenance projects, the big ones, obviously the parking lots are under construction with 2 different contractors, so it seems like a lot is torn up around campus. But there are always at least 3 ways to get in and get out of the campus, of the 6.
Just have to find.
So barring any weather issues, rain is always a delay. The expectation is to have all of this wrapped up by the end of next month, before July. The other project that's significant is the window project in LA. That project is well ahead of schedule, actually about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So we actually hope to wrap that up. We're expecting it to go until the middle of June. It looks like we'll be done by the end of next week. So we'll be able to move faculty back sooner and get some other projects started with the swing space that they're in. And lastly, it was mentioned earlier by Dr. Greaves. The simulation lab is a significant project, and that's beginning the design phase right now. So we want to have that online by winter. Winter of 18. So starting.
Any questions? Dr. Belinda?
Yes, I just want to thank you, Damon. I know that, I think it was pretty smart to get two, I hope. It seems pretty smart to get two companies so that we could expedite this parking lot. It's not, it's painful, but I think it was really a great idea. So thank you for bringing that suggestion forward. And thank you.
Just to add to that, I just want to let the board know, just for next month, you'll see a change order. Now, what we asked the board to approve, and the board did approve, was the two contracts with what's called a lot of undercut dollars built in. And the reason for that is we didn't know what we'd find once we, demoed the existing lots. So we carried about $400,000 of what's called undercut, which was estimated in the job if we did all the undercutting that the engineers felt might be needed. As it turns out, right now, we've hardly used any of them. So we found some additional bad spots in the parking lots that, since we have these two contractors mobilized, we'd like to kind of do a little bit more. So we've got all these unit costs that were competitively bid, so we know what the units are. So we will be presenting for discussion, that's in June, a change order to Pavex, because we wanted to do a little bit more where we found some bad pavement that will not get any cheaper if we do it later. This will be the most least expensive way to do it while these contractors are mobilized. If we wait till next year, it's going to be more expensive. Wait till 2 years from now, it'll be more so. So just a heads up that that's for discussion next week.
Thank you. Any other questions? Remarks of Board of Trustees?
I would like to. Today is Trustee DeVardy's birthday.
Oh.
It's a big one, I want to say. He's 35 years old.
I'm eligible for Medicare today.
Just want to wish him a hearty happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Will you forgive us if we don't sing?
Yes, I. No, we'll do it. We'll do it in private.
Any other?
Yeah, I just want to quickly just say something about campus safety. I appreciate our community coming out and voicing their opinions, whether it's yay or nay. Because we need to have that going forward in the board's decision-making. I truly understand the concerns that Washtenaw residents have in establishing an official law enforcement department here on campus, because there are a lot of variables that goes into making sure that it's rolled out smoothly. Especially working out a win-win scenario. The young lady that spoke, and please forgive me, I've forgotten your name, but, and I heard everything that you said, and some of the others too, but your concerns were more realistic in the sense of, yes, I agree that law enforcement really isn't necessary, but given the fact that when I walk out of my classroom, I go to my car, am I going to be safe in case I run into hurt, harm, and danger? Is there something in place that's going to help protect me, and the students? And that's our responsibility, as well as the school's responsibility, is to make sure that our students and our staff are protected from hurt, harm, and danger, and our visitors, whoever they may be. once they set foot on our property, we are responsible for them. I understand the concern if the law officers would have the ability to identify certain behavioral traits, certain characteristics. Are they able to identify mental illnesses? And this does not mean that they have to be students. I've had the opportunity to read letters and postcards that have come to me that identify just students only. It's not just a student issue. Crime is no respecter of persons or location. And in order to move forward in a fast-moving global society, whether it's educational institution, whether it's business, whether it's our residential, we have to be forward thinkers. We have to be proactive and not reactive. Because if something happens to us in this room, on this land, then we have to be, then we're responsible to answering to those who are looking at us and saying, hey, what the heck is WCC doing? You guys are head of the pack in everything that you guys do. Why is it that you couldn't have something in place to not so much just stop, crimes that take place, but just have it in place so that it's implemented. The law officers are familiar with the culture there. They're able to identify and associate and engage with the students and the student body as a whole and the faculty, the whole nine. So I don't want to be in front of somebody's mic and say, well, how come you didn't do that? And I would like to think that none of you guys would want to be in front of that mic saying, well, we brought it up, but nobody did anything about it because it's been talked about so much. So I appreciate everything that everyone has brought to us to weigh. It is very important. I'm passionate about law enforcement. I've never been trained as a security officer. Yes, I do have a background working at Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department. I work in loss prevention at TJ Maxx. I understand, shoplifting alert signals. I understand behavior alert signals. Somebody's becoming agitated. They hyperventilate. These are things that we have to make sure that, yes, when officers are brought in, that they're trained to identify. I trust that they will. I trust the person that has been hired to oversee the security office. Is it Scott? Yes. Mr. Scott, he's well equipped with that expertise in making sure that people that he bring on his team are going to follow the protocols of making sure that they learn the culture of this campus, learn the culture of our students, identify a personal relationship, because that's big. We can hire counselors all day long, but they're already doing a great job. If they need additional training, then we'll address that as its own separate entity. But hiring more counselors is not going to answer the question, or solve this issue of should we or should we not have an effective law enforcement department on this campus. I'm just being honest about it. I'm just throwing that out there. I take this very seriously, and I want everyone else to also. This is why I got elected in this position, because I'm very concerned about our community as a whole, this entire county, taxpayers such as myself. I want to make sure that we are doing the right thing. We're not going to please everybody, but I want to make sure that what we do, they know that we did all that we could do to satisfy the needs of our community and our students.
Thank you, Trustee Davis. Any other comments? Trustee DeVarty?
I have more of a request. I heard several.
Trustee DeVarty was the next
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
You were looking at me.
I actually didn't intend to say anything tonight. I was just going to relax, and I appreciate turning 65. However, I do need to, at this point out, we spend $1.5 million on our campus security. We have a safe campus. It's perceived as a safe campus. People from the law enforcement communities have come and spoken to us, and people from our broader community and our students and faculty have come and spoken to us. There's a lot on our table. I look forward, Kimberly Jones, to looking at that U.S. report about campus that you referred us to and that I'd like to see. There's a lot of information we have to consider. But it concerns me when tonight I hear one of our strategic priorities is to move financial aid to some facilities improvements, and we're talking about spending $500,000 on police that I question whether we really need them. So let's think that we have generous taxpayers in this community, and they support us with their generosity to give us a good amount of money to work with. Let's be good stewards of that money. And if it comes down that the way to go is with our own police force, it comes down to that. But let's also think that we, of all of those resources, we have many demands on those resources. And we need to remember the campus is safe to begin with. Thank you.
Trustee Hatcher.
I just have a request. I heard from several of the areas of strategic planning grants that have been achieved, and I'd like at some point, maybe in September or I don't know when, to have a review of the grants that we're operating with now and what they are and what they do and where they came from and who did them and when they're done and et cetera, et cetera. Just a sort of snapshot of how we're doing with grants.
Okay.
Is that
That's a good point. I don't think we've done anything on grants
That's a
specifically.
very good idea.
Yeah.
just,
That's a
it
good
doesn't
one.
have to be a big, huge presentation,
Sure,
but a
sure.
list or something.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Sure. Anyone else? I just want to just say on Saturday, this past Saturday, May 20th, at our commencement, it was very, very joyous. We had a very large group of people that walked the stage, and they were just so excited. But I want to go back on Thursday to the honors convocation. That was a really good snapshot of what was going to be coming on Saturday, of how the people who crossed that stage getting their honors. They were so excited. That was the largest group that I had seen in a very long time. The auditorium was full. I believe there was like 400 people there or something in that order, 300 to 400 people. The students were, every student that was there, all the seats were filled. It was so exciting. And one of the things that I do, I always stop intermittently students and ask them, what are you going to do now? And their responses was just so wide range. Teachers, engineering, going to U of M, going to Harvard, going to Princeton. It was just a wide array of students answering my question. Because to me, it showed that our faculty, this school, is meeting the needs that they came here for. It's not about us trustees. It's about the students. And the students are the ones who are benefiting from it. And we're just the recipient looking at them. And I felt so proud to see them, that they have achieved why they came here. They came here for a reason, and they got it. And then on Saturday, it was a further testimony of all the students who crossed, and all the students that I stopped and asked again that same question, and their varied responses. For me, it was just none. every year, for me to go to those two ceremonies is worth being a trustee at this institution. And that's my comment. Anything else? Anybody else has anything to say? All right. President's remarks.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I have this award that was given to Board Chair Diana McKnight Morton. The award was given to her by the Ann Arbor Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs Incorporated on April 29th, 2017. It's a community service award. Congratulations, Diana.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This was a real honor. I was totally shocked when I got a phone call and then a letter stating that I was chosen from many, many people in this community. Besides myself, there was 2 other people that received various awards. Mine was community, and there were some other ones for different areas. But in any case, it was, like I said, it was just really a shock, and I'm really pleased that I consider them my peers that chosen me to receive this award. Thank you very much.
We were also given a proclamation at the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meeting. This says April 26th because that's the day that was Community College Day. But I went to this meeting just last week, right? I can't even remember. But anyway, where we were presented this proclamation from the commissioners thanking us for the role we play at the community college. So I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for their support and thank everyone here that is working with them to help move the college forward. Thank you. Commencement was amazing. Thank you, Linda, and your staff for doing an outstanding job. Really do appreciate all the time and effort that you put into it.
How many people graduated?
We had almost 500, the largest group ever that we've had attend commencement.
How many graduated total?
How many graduated total? It was like
600?
50. Not everyone comes to commencement.
How much did you say, 1,500?
Like 17.
Wow,
that's
great.
awesome.
But we had close to 500 people come through commencement, so that was great.
Awesome.
It was a great ceremony. Thank you. Our speakers were outstanding. I'm going to go through this rather quickly, so whoever's helping me, click. Okay, this was our women's luncheon, women's council luncheon. Again, I think it was the 27th year, and the Women's Council has raised over $600,000 over the years for students in terms of supporting their extra needs, the wraparound services. So it was a very, very nice event. And I'd like to thank the foundation staff for doing an outstanding job. We're on television again, Channel 2. And here you see Derek Andrews, He seems to be the Channel 2 star right now, cooking on the show. This was to commemorate Community College Week. Now, I want to make sure I say this correctly because this was such an important event, and it's actually very touching. I think it's very touching. And WCC joined the National Consortium on College Men of Colleges. And the title of the campaign is See the Vision, Be the Vision. And so this event was taken of all the professional African American men that are in the community came for this photo. And this photo is going to be used in promotions in the K-12 systems and in system as well as in other community areas to serve as a motivator, actually, to see the vision, be the vision, this can be you. So, Clarence, did you want to say anything about it, or are we good? Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me. I think Clarence could speak a little bit. Couldn't you, a little bit more about it?
want to?
I appreciate he was trying to get out of it.
I will say it was a wonderful opportunity. There were young people from Wcc schools that were there as well. They're in the front, a couple in the front rows. But people brought, men brought their sons to experience the opportunity to change the narrative around African American males. And I think that the portrait itself is a great thing, but what we're going to do with the portrait in the community is going to make a difference for our young people to see the vision, and hopefully they will be the vision. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I would just, go ahead.
Where did this group assemble? Where was that?
Here.
Housley.
Right
In the building?
Mhm.
Thank you.
I would just like to say, I was approached in April by someone, I was at Jackson College, by someone there, and that informed me of this happening. And I started inquiring about it. So, but I do want to give due to some people that were part of this getting going and responsible for this here. And one of them is Anthony Williamson, and the other person is Arnett Chisholm. And I think that, and there's a couple others, and I think this is really important that people need to understand that a lot of people feel that why is it that we had to do this? Why is it that the black males had to get together? The reason why is that the young black males don't see themselves in a setting in a professional or business area. And this is very important for them to see others like them. I don't want to beat this drum because I do it all the time, but my drum has not stopped beating, and I will continue to beat this drum that black males, and now it looks like black females, these young people need to see people like them. And it's got to start here. If we're going to have them here on campus, we got to have them here in the classroom, and we've got to have some faculty. Ruth, if you're talking about faculty, I want to see some minority black people. That's what I want to see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And of course, our students won an award. This is our academic National Academy of Television. It's our digital media arts students, and this was at a Michigan Regional Student Production Awards. So one of the awards was for a short film about fabulous foods, our campus catering company. A total of 11 students were nominated in 10 different categories. So we'd like to congratulate those that were nominated. And also congratulations to the faculty members, Dan Keir and Matt Zacharias. And last one? What? Oh, thank you. Wait, one more? Square One. Square One competition. You know, we're involved with Square One Network. It's a K-12 initiative focusing on STEM. And what was important about this, it was at M-City, of which we're a partner of, and Al Leeds, who is our Advanced Transportation Director, helped judge this competition. So I'd like to thank him as well and those who attended. Okay, I think that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Old business. Approval of new programs, 2017-18. Is there a motion?
I move we accept the recommendation.
Support. Moved and supported.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tabby. This is the,
Cybersecurity program.
this is approval of new program for the Cybersecurity Associate in Applied Science.
Okay, next one's approval of discontinued programs.
I think we just did that.
This is,
You just did that
No,
one.
Just did that one, okay.
Okay, now we're approved, that's tab F, excuse me.
Now we're
But I
at
want to go back to tab E, if you don't mind. Okay. For me, there's questions here. Is there any questions? No? Okay.
We discussed it last week.
I know, but I still wanted to ask a question. Is that okay with you? Okay. Is it possible, who am I talking to
Kim
about this?
Hearns.
Kim, is it possible to test out some of the courses, or can they be waived? So somebody wants to say, okay, I want to do this, but I've done a lot of this stuff.
In that program, we probably would end up with, I would say more, not students, but professionals who maybe worked in industry. And I mean, and we do have prior learning credit that we could apply to them, especially if they have a certification, if they have an industry certification. And that might apply in this program. But it does change a lot. So a lot of the students, we have a large contingency at Toyota, IT professionals over there who come back and retrain. So they usually find that it makes sense to take the classes and refresh because it is updated based on what's going on in industry. But they can do prior learning credit to get, if they wanted to, not so much test out, but we'll take into account the credit experience they already have or certifications that they already have. And we do that for all of our programs.
All the programs, okay, all right, that was something there. Okay, approval of discontinued programs, this is another action, and we did discuss this last time.
So moved.
Support.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's go on to tab G, Master Plan Consultant Contract. We discussed this last time. Any other discussion?
So moved.
Been moved, supported? Support. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing yet?
All in
All right.
favor?
All in favor?
This is roll
Oh, it's a roll call? Okay, roll call.
I do have a question.
Okay.
The Albert Kahn contract, did we negotiate any additional outreach to the affected communities and constituencies here at the campus?
So the board acts and then negotiate the contract.
But once we approve this, won't they say, oh, we've got the money?
But they don't have the money to negotiate the agreement.
You're just giving us permission to
Just
do that.
Just to do it.
Fine, I'll vote for it.
Did I miss something here with you?
Nope.
Well, it was my hope that part of
We will.
Yeah, there was some.
part
We
of
will.
it, that there would be more outreach in the master planning process to some of the constituencies at the college, including students and faculty and staff.
And actually, I think that would be great to note in the minutes, because we did agree in a subcommittee that we wanted more outreach, and so I think we should,
Oh,
if
okay.
you don't mind,
Okay.
Madam Chair,
No. Go
to
ahead.
include that.
I'm going to vote for it, but I want to continue to press you to get that from them.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. In there. Okay. Roll call?
Chair McMahon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Treasurer Milliken,
Yes.
Secretary Davis,
Yes.
Trustee DeVarty,
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Lino.
Yes.
Okay, computer equipment contracts. This is another action, and we discussed this before. Is there support?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? None? Nope. All in favor?
It's a
Roll call, excuse me. Roll call.
Roll call.
Chair McMahon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Treasurer Milliken,
Yes.
Secretary Davis,
Yes.
Trustee DeVarty,
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Lino.
Yes.
Resolution to approve the allowable 2017-18 tax ad valorem tax rate. The action.
So I move this recommendation.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call.
Chair McMahon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Treasurer Milliken,
Yes.
Secretary Davis,
Yes.
Trustee DeVarty,
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Lino.
Yes.
Approval of revenue and expense analysis, 2017-18 budget. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. We've had, you want discussion?
Well, I've got a question. In our packet was just the one green sheet. And of course, I added all the information that we discussed last month. And my experience with agencies, other agencies, is when we approve a budget, it's more than just the outline that we were presented tonight. So when we're voting, are we just voting on the outline, or are we voting on all the detailed line items that we discussed last week? And if we're voting on the line items, that should be in our packet for tonight. I mean, it's consistent. The outline is consistent, but the line items aren't here. And I'm concerned that we should be voting on the line items as a whole.
To address that, so the action item has the line items that are required to be approved by the board that constitute the budget. The other materials that we had provided were supporting details to allow the board to do their analysis and to ask their questions. So this one-page motion is the board's action to approve the budget for next year, fiscal 18.
Correct.
But do you have the leeway to, within these broad categories, move money around?
The board approves the budget in total and the line items that are there. So to the extent that the college wants to move money from one line item to the next line item, that would require board action. But to the extent we want to move money within departments that make up personnel, for instance, that's left to the discretion of the college. And that's, I believe that's in the bylaws to the board.
Correct.
So just by way of example, the line items that we were presented, there's the possibility of starting our own police force, the detail. And if we approve this broad outline, does that give you the authority without a further vote from us to go out there and hire the police force?
No. May I?
President Belanca.
May I speak?
President Belanca, please.
Yes, no, it does not. It does not give us the authority to do that. We've allocated a budget, but not a budget, well, we've said we can find the dollars to do it, but we will not move forward on anything of such nature. It is a board policy that has to be changed, and we need to discuss and address. So we can't move forward without the board looking at that policy. And so no, that's just, we have to allocate the dollars should it pass, but it may not pass. So I hope that answers your question. It requires board action in order for us to start a police force.
We will not be voting on the police force until the fall session. So right now, we're just voting on the budget.
I think I know your concern, Trustee DeVardo. You're worried that we're going to start one?
What I want is to vote on this purple sheet with all these line item allocations that we were given. And I don't want to vote and give you a broad authority to move money around within that as long as it's consistent with this simple outline. And my experience with every entity I've been on, governmental entity, is that we look at the line items and that's what we approve in the budget.
Can I say something? But if this is an overall view, and we've already voted on that purple sheet that you have there, there's no point in going back to that, having it as a line item, because then that becomes redundant.
We didn't vote on the purple sheet.
Okay, thank you. Then it just becomes redundant because, we already know what's in the budget. We already know what each line item is. We've got it back here. We've got it in our other packets that we've met. So to me, in all due respect to what you're asking, Mr. Bill Johnson here, it just seems redundant.
It's not redundant. It's our fiduciary responsibility.
This is true, and I agree with you on
To be on
that.
top of the way the money is spent. This is
true.
$100 million.
And you're very good at making sure that they and we are on top of it. So
Right.
I think at this point, we have pretty much had a good understanding of what's going on here.
Listen, if you're not comfortable, vote against it.
Okay,
That's fine.
I feel like it's would be.
My position on this is, it would be a violation of our fiduciary duties to not set aside money for an item that's contemplated in September. And if we, we're setting hear me out. We're setting a budget for the coming year. If the money is used, it's used. They're not authorized to use it unless we pass a resolution authorizing a police force. But setting aside money for a proposal that has been vetted and is going to be before this board in September as a contingency in the event that it's passed is simply prudent financial management. But if you want to be, I understand your position on the police force. I understand what you're trying to do. And if you want to make your political statement, make your political statement. But let me just say, the president and the VP for finance have the authority to implement this budget. And you nor I are going to, he indicated to you that with intradepartmental transfers, they have the authority. We know what the bylaws are. They know what their authority is. And I don't think anybody needs you to lecture them on it.
Yeah, the law would require the board to take action to create a police force.
I understand that. But with all due respect, I don't need to be patronized.
Well,
I've been on boards before that have looked at detailed budgets. And that's not what we're approving if we just look at the screen.
You did this last year.
The police.
You did this last year.
The police thing.
What's your problem this year?
The police thing is in this purple stuff. So that's a totally separate thing. But my concern is in other line items throughout the budget, that if we just give the authority on the broad outline, money could be moved from one of these purple sheet line items to another, as long as it stays within the outline.
As long as they comply with our bylaws and with their fiduciary duties and their duties as within their offices of this community college, I'm not going to micromanage it. If you want to have approval over every inter-budget transfer, then try to get hired as either the VP for finance or the president. You're not. You're a trustee. We approve budgets. This is a budget. We're approving it. You did it last year. I think you did it the year before.
He did.
I don't know why this is a problem this year suddenly, except for the police force, which I understand is an issue of yours.
Question's been called. All in favor?
I need a roll call.
Oh, we need a roll call.
Chairman Morgan,
Here, yes.
Vice Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Treasurer Milliken,
Yes.
Secretary Davis,
Yes.
Trustee DeVerde,
No.
Trustee Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Leza.
Yes.
It has passed. And we will go down to approval of, no.
Sabbatical.
I'm sorry.
New business.
New business.
And that's
Okay.
Kim Hood.
Propose approval of 17-18 faculty sabbaticals.
So in your packet, there are 6 sabbaticals that we are recommending for your approval, and the details of each are included.
Any discussion? I hope everyone had a chance to read each of these sabbaticals.
Yes.
Okay. That's the case. Then we will take a motion to adjourn into closed session.
Roll call?
You need a roll call. No, you don't need a roll call.
Don't need a,
Just need a-
it's just a discussion.
All in favor?
All in
Oh,
favor?
this is, yeah.
Just a discussion.
Oh, okay.
It just says a roll.
This is not an action item? Or
No.
is it just?
No, it's discussion
Okay,
tonight.
fine.
Discussion.
Very good.
Yes, sir. Adjournment.
We're adjourning into, motion to
We're-
move to close.
I need a motion to adjourn to a closed session.
So moved.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.